bigger YouTubers for Destiny are getting hit, and like who's to say like more won't be have copyright strikes against their channel? Like I don't know, it's just a bizarre thing. Like I don't know, I don't think Bungie's
Are our
the
videos
one
going to get hit?
doing this. Well, that's what I was wondering that because the last one we did, I just took tons of spoiler stuff. I
Sweet.
took the
That might generate more
cutscenes.
hits than anything.
Yeah, it might. Angry on Twitter. We got taken down, everybody. Bungie's bullshit.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then everyone's like, "Ooh, what's this podcast? It must be important if they're getting copyright strikes."
Exactly.
So maybe in the
What's that?
end, it'll be worth
Bad
it.
any bad publicity is. Oh, what's the phrase? Any
There's no such
publicity is
thing
good
as bad publicity.
but it's still good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows?
Um,
Who knows?
well, shall we get rolling? You want to do some intros?
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 17 of the All You Can Game Buffet podcast. We're going to just dive right into this because we were just talking about Bungie's, well, I shouldn't say Bungie because we don't know for sure what's going on there. I'm going to just say Bungie's heavy-handed approach to copyright strikes, or potentially a mystery third party's approach to copyright strikes. A couple big-time Destiny YouTube channels have had some copyright strikes against them, and I think it was the Destiny Music Archive, something along those lines. I got to double check the name of the actual channel, but they got taken down completely because they got too many copyright strikes against them, and their whole thing was just uploading music from the game, tracks you can buy or find on the Destiny YouTube channel.
I can see why on that one.
So there's a theory here. I was saying if you're a conspiracy kind of person, Sony owns, Sony Music. It's a music company. Sony now owns Bungie. Okay. Somebody posted music from a company that now owns the music to which the game is attributed. Potentially, maybe Sony is going, through some third-party channels to try and kind of rein in some of their content now, that they now own.
Could be.
That's a theory. I don't think I buy into that because I don't feel like that deal's even finished, happening yet. But
They probably also have bots that troll all YouTube channels looking for
I was going
sound
to say,
clips that
this
they've copyright
sounds
on.
like bots going out of control.
Yeah.
And if Sony were smart, they'd know that, like, the streaming industry and YouTube content, that drives the product. Destiny wouldn't be half of what it is if it didn't have the outrageously huge, like, streaming and YouTube community to keep pumping out shit. So any company that's ahead of the curve is like, yeah, we kind of need the industry. Like, what's going to happen to all those Twitch streams? What's going to happen to all that stuff? It's just going to disappear. They're going to move to other content. Sony doesn't want that. Bungie doesn't want that. So I don't know if... I feel like I agree with Graham. I think it's bots getting a little too out of control.
a little too handsy,
A little
if you
touchy.
will. Yeah, well, I
AI,
agree with that.
it's Skynet. It's taken over. This is first strike.
But it's wrong.
Bungie.
And they're dumb. They're like dumb robots.
Absolutely. All AI is dumb. I'll just... Someone who
For a company that
writes.
has a weekly movie of the week contest and actively promotes community members, this seems a bit fishy to me. So
Exactly. It doesn't match. It doesn't line up.
Doesn't line up
Yeah.
with Bungie's like the way they treat their community. Which, if you are a Destiny fan or you follow the Bungie community, they're quite good to their community.
Well,
for
maybe
the
they're
most part.
getting ready
So,
to sell them to
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
We're moving to Switch, boys.
Next year we'll be talking about Bungie Directs or Sony Directs, and then we'll get copyright strikes against our channel because Sony is taking the Nintendo route of just suing everybody and making
Just
sure
clobbering.
you can't use any of their footage for anything.
Zoom all like
Yeah.
God sorted
Yeah,
out.
that's so backwards. That's such a terrible... like I said, it doesn't matter in this day and age. Any people talking about your game, showing your game, you should love it as a company. It's goal number one.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, unless you're Ubisoft, because then all the videos are just shitting on your company, but rightfully so. So, sorry, Ubisoft.
What are you talking about? They're
Sorry,
masters
Nate.
of
I don't know.
UX.
Yeah.
Haven't you heard?
I shall put that graphic up once more, just so we can really hammer home how good they are at it. Let's dive into our main topic, which is we don't really have a main topic this week, I don't think, do we? It's a bunch of little topics,
Bunch of little
such as
Yeah.
our favorite, I think our favorite topic, and the one we've talked about the most in the last 3 episodes, it's more Elden Ring.
And we don't have space here to roll his eyes, so perfect.
To sit and glaze over.
You know what I'll do? I'll film an image of him just rolling his eyes, and I'll just play that on loop for us.
Turn it into a GIF and just run it on the side.
Yeah, Elden Ring has sold 12 million copies.
Was that a lot?
They
Like,
put
I
in,
actually have no
2
idea what
weeks,
sales numbers
right?
are these days for typical games.
yeah, man, that's a ton.
That's
for,
really impressive for like 2 weeks.
and especially
Like,
for
really impressive.
this genre of game. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I really thought because there was a post that I saw that they were like, oh, we did 500,000 copies or something in Japan for the first like week or something, and I was like, oh, that's okay, that's pretty good, I guess. But I guess that was maybe just one sales territory. I don't know, because 12 million is a lot more than 500,000.
Yeah, I just pulled up the top,
quite,
the
Yeah.
Wikipedia top sales of all time. I'm shocked to discover Wii Sports is number 4.
Oh.
Wii Sports.
It came with every system, and that system sold like hotcakes.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyways,
Yeah.
12 million is a
Well, I
lot though,
mean,
because Wii Sports was 82 million.
was included.
So, all time. Exactly.
In 2
exactly,
weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we had like a 2-year run where like everyone wanted them, you couldn't get them. Elden Ring, we'll see what happens in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think the digital supply of Elden Ring is going to dry up anytime soon. I think we're probably
No,
safe
and if
there.
they keep supporting it with
But that's
expansions and stuff,
impressive.
it's just going to go crazy.
Expansions. I
Man,
haven't even
I-
finished the game. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't want an expansion right now. Don't tempt me with that. I'm still like
The
struggling
world is
right
ripe
now.
for
I'm struggling.
for just tacking on new continents, and it'll be easy to do.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's dangerous. But congratulations to Elden Ring. I can't escape it. Every video I watch, like I've watched other podcasts, like it's still the topic, and people still say, "Oh, I was playing this. I really wish I'd rather be playing Elden Ring right now." I was like, "Yeah, I know exactly what that feels like."
You know what? I should get
Like, I
bumper
just
stickers
wanna
made.
grind.
I should, bumper sticker. I'd rather be playing Elden Ring.
I'd rather be playing Elden Ring. I'd rather be tarnished.
You are tarnished. You're on this podcast, so I think that's heavily implied
I'd
already.
rather.
Fair enough.
Well, I'll just get us all shirts
Fair
made.
enough.
I'd rather be tarnished. Here first. We can sell them on our.
That's a bleak outlook on life too. Just suffering in
Wow.
purgatory. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for
I'll
it.
take one.
I will gladly take
Yeah.
a shirt and wear it on the next podcast. So you best get on that, Greg.
That turnaround time is pretty quick.
We're done talking about Elden Ring, and we're going to talk a little bit about another state of play, actually. Which it's weird that they did 2 state of plays. I don't know why they didn't just put this on with the other one.
And they were so back close, like a week apart.
I know,
Like
and
I thought that was really strange.
this would have made the other state of play actually good. What were you thinking, Sony? Ugh. All right, well,
that's what they wanted. They're like, this is all garbage, so we're gonna separate it out to drive content.
Returnal is
drive
not
views.
they should have just put Returnal and
And other things.
and other things. So they did Sony did another state of play with the Hogwarts Legacy. Is that the correct title? I think.
Yep.
Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, the new Harry Potter game, which I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. Like I enjoyed the movies, but I never read any of the books. So that's kind of where my
It's a
you know,
shame. you should read 'em.
fandom. Honestly, I still don't really have any interest in reading those books. At one point, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna dive in right after I finish the movies, and then I don't know.
And
why.
you were
Just
like, but the movies are so easy.
well, I saw
Reading?
all the movies.
What?
They're
That's
good.
like homework.
It's
Well.
just, you read a book, it takes a couple days, or you watch a movie and it's all there in 2 hours. I get it.
Listen, it's not that I can't read.
I can't read.
I can't read. I maybe at some point in my life I'll read them. I don't know, but this game actually looks really cool and almost exactly what I was kind of envisioning a Hogwarts kind of open world ish game would be like. I don't know. It looks really cool. I'm not entirely, I guess, sold on it yet, but I'm curious to see more about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of half watching it through it because I actually didn't have time to watch the thing yet. It looks really good, like style wise. Like I really think they nailed it. I'm not entirely convinced how great this game is going to be. I don't know. The problem is I started watching the video.
What kind of game is it though? It's
So
like you go to school.
I think it's like an adventure, like
And-
a third-person action adventure.
Yeah.
So, but an adventure where you also actually have to go to school and attend classes.
Yeah, because I think that's all tied to like how you sort of spec out your character. What you excel in at school makes your like whether it's potion spells or
It's your class tree.
I don't
or
know
whatever.
what else do you
Yeah,
do in that
exactly.
school.
Yeah.
Potions and
Charms.
spells.
Yeah.
So I think it's tied to that, and then you go out and like do stuff, fight some goblins, kill some other wizards.
So, I watched it with my wife because she's not a big gamer, but she's a big HP fan, and we both kind of. And I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I geek out over Harry Potter, and so it definitely takes a big page from the books big page from the movies over the books. Like there's a lot of things that are almost scene for scene. It feels like in that state of play. Like a lot of the creative direction is derived by the same imagery for sure over what you can you visualize as you're reading the books.
But that's
I don't know
I
how
think
you
that's okay.
gamify some of the. It just feels like they're cramming it all in. It's like, oh, and also we have the room of requirement. Oh, and also we have a little house elf you can befriend. Oh, and also we have, and I'm just like, but wait, where's the game?
That's what I'm wondering too.
Yeah. And it will be.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they've shown any of the map or where you can go or like what your goal is. Like,
There's a good scene of like him flying on a broomstick over the map.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've got to that part of the video yet because it's a bit later. But it
About
still
8.5 minutes in.
I
I feel like it's going to do what all open world games do, which is like go to the top of this wizard tower and see the area with your owl and then assassinate the other. Like, it's just the same as it's Assassin's Creed. They're just
Didn't you
making
get the
Assassin's
memo?
Creed with Harry Potter.
Elden
Like,
Ring
what else are they going to
everything.
do?
Oh yeah, sorry. No, that's not how it's going to be. Graham's right. Elden Ring did change everything. So
Yeah.
there's no mini maps. There's no quest markers. There's nothing.
There's no explanations.
There's also no game too. They went even further.
And like, it's fine if it's just like an adventure and you go to school to build your skill trees and that sort of thing, but it is hard to build a fun game loop. And so I don't see how they're going to make the classroom fun, the crafting system fun, and also the adventure, the main part of the game, fun. Like, how do you focus on all three unless you have ridiculous budgets or you've borrowed heavily from other systems?
This looks like it has a pretty big budget. Like, just watching this, it looks incredible. I'm at the broom part right now. Like, wow, the map looks huge.
It's insane level of stuff they've crammed into it. So I hope.
You know what I'm worried about with like this whole idea of like going to school to learn or to develop root skill trees? It's that you go to school and then like the school part of it is like little mini games that you do to progress your
That is
skills
for
rather
sure
than like
what's gonna
choosing where a skill point goes. You're like, play this mini game to get your skill point, or something.
That's what it will
dumb.
be for sure. Yeah.
I just like I don't have time for that. I don't want
You
to do
must
that.
get an A+ on your test.
Yeah,
Before you can do it in the outside world.
Master the
Yeah.
potion.
before you can master health potions, you have to mix a whole bunch of ingredients in class a bunch of times, and then you gotta go
that's-
do that every time to level up your potions, or I don't know.
That's how Gran Turismo worked, the original.
Gran
You gotta
Turismo?
beat this race before you get access to the stuff to make your car better.
Yeah, but that's actually incorporating the game that you're playing. Though.
Yeah, that's a racing game.
a racing game. It's not like they don't ask you to like fix your engine as a mini game to like progress the game.
Yeah, bad analogy.
Actually, better
Yeah.
analogy.
I'm not sure about this game. Like, yeah, is there going to be enough emphasis on the school and it's like all in the school. Like, how does the outside school work? Do you get to go back to your, human home when it's summertime and like pick on people? I don't know.
So
I'm not entirely sold on this game.
They're dropping
It
you into
looks
like
cool.
the fifth
It looks
year,
cool.
right? They're
Yeah.
dropping you into, and so it'll be 1 year almost certainly, or like one. You're not going home, and it's what, the 18th century or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're dealing with the fact that you don't have to, like, no one will be familiar. There's some sort of weird extra magic system, but another weird thing is like there's a lot of death. Like there's a lot of killing in the
There's
trailer.
like house building, so you build like a house that you
that
live
looks
at.
terrible. That looks just
I mean,
dumb.
this game is a mishmash of like you said, Graham. They are shoving
Yeah.
everything into this game. I don't know if it's gonna pan out as well because it's misguided. It's meanders.
It feels like, oh, we need to be able to let people customize their own living area, and it's like, oh, but then why don't we have them build like cottages and like crafting
Yeah,
stations?
weird.
It's like, oh man, you're going too far.
Before I watched this, and I guess I still don't really even know because the trailer doesn't really tell you. I thought it was going to be like a Dark Souls kind of, or Demon Souls kind of world, where it's like a hub world and you can explore Hogwarts like that, and then you find little dungeons because I'm basing this from the movies. Like there's like secret passages and all kinds of stuff within the school, which could then be turned into like dungeons in a game, which would be really cool because then you could go down into the basement and find some monsters to
clear out
slay
the basement.
or something. But this looks like it's an open world game, and the open world is what exactly? The school, but also the
don't
school and extra parts of the world
Yeah, it's
because
all
there's
the
also
surrounding
the scene
area.
with like the centaur folks, and then I think there's spiders as well. Like, so is there a
Spiders.
forest that's open world?
There's the Hogwarts or Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade's a big part of it. There'll be the like mountain range that Sirius hid out in. That's like where the main bad guys are, up in the mountains nearby. So there's like they're trying to. I see how they're like tapping into your nostalgia because they're like these places are places that are part of the plots of the Harry Potter we know, but I don't know where the game is. I'm still confused.
I just saw a scene. There's also
I love that you're watching
a
a
creature
snap.
like managing.
Yeah, there's creature managing.
So like I'm telling you, like if they could throw in a subgenre, I think it's in this game, in some way.
It's got everything. And maybe
So-
they're going for like an Assassin's Creed blended with Animal Crossing, because like you got to grow your own potions, ingredients, and stuff. Like it is
Mixed with a Red Dead meets a Dark Souls. I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna have much Dark Souls in it, but
I don't think it should.
I'll see. It'll be interesting how they do the magic too. Whether it'll be like combos, like a Street Fighter esque, or it'll be like mapping spells to buttons, which will be
Yeah, what would you like more?
15 years ago, I would definitely like combos. Now, I probably would like mapping buttons. But
That's
mapping
fair.
buttons is definitely the less skillful. Like it, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like you're not like the combat mechanic would be way more fun if it was combos. But the story it'll become obtuse. It'll be hard for people to access if it's like that's a way harder game design, I think.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure about this game yet. I was excited for it when they first announced it. Visually, it looks amazing, but the more I see it, the more I'm like, what is it?
And they might hit it out of the park, but
They might. I'm gonna need more.
Yeah.
Gonna need another video before release.
I want to hear some critics' takes on it too.
Yeah, this is definitely not a day one buy for me
No.
at this point.
Yeah.
Is this a P? No, it's on PC and PlayStation, or is it on
I think
Xbox
it's
as well?
PS4, PS5 currently only. I thought, but maybe I might be wrong on that. Double check.
And that's a bold choice too.
But like a state of play though, dedicated specifically to this game tells me that okay, there's something exclusive here for Sony, whether it's a time gated something or it's entirely a Sony based product. I'm not entirely sure, but why would you do a state of play on a game that's cross-platform? Is my
What
question.
platforms will Hogwarts Legacy be on? Hogwarts Legacy will be available on PS5, PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC.
That does not look like it'll run on the Switch.
No,
Oh, it never does. Have you seen The Witcher 3?
The Witcher 3.
It's gonna get the Witcher 3 treatment. They're gonna get the game in there, but like everything's gonna look like you just woke up and your eyes aren't
Right,
clear.
amorphous blobs. Everything's like,
Amorphous
Yeah,
blobs.
Vaseline on the lens.
let's just dial this polygon count down to like 6.
All right. Well, what
6
was-
million?
well,
No,
Switch-
6.
I don't understand the point of having this as a state of play then for Sony. If it's not exclusive in any
They
way.
probably get like 6 months of early or like it's on PlayStation first, and I don't know. That's usually the case when it's something like because they talked about Tiny Tina, but that game is on all systems as well. So I just think I think these companies are maybe just making deals with Sony where they can be part of like an event to help get it out, and Sony really, needs to get more people thinking they have more games. Xbox is definitely doing a good job of seeming like they have a lot more content, even though I don't really think they do.
Not yet.
But I think the perception is
A couple years.
that they do.
Couple years, they're gonna have the whole industry.
Yeah, but they won't have all the good games.
I mean, they're gonna have your favorite
Halo.
game, Doom. They're gonna have all the Dooms.
You're right.
Elder Scrolls,
They will have Doom
Starfield,
and Bethesda games.
World of Warcraft. Like they got it all.
Meh. I don't think that game is gonna survive in 10
I
years.
think WoW is gonna have a comeback, but they're gonna have to do like a big rebranding and like a redo, a big expansion.
Yeah.
I think Blizzard is like,
You're shaking your head. You're like, nope.
they've lost all their...
They're in-
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not. You can officially say they're not what they used to be.
Yeah.
Ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be.
Krusty, are you making any money?
Nah, that guy's giving it away for free.
Old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be.
They've got a couple serious strikeouts pitted against them.
Overwatch 2 needs to knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
It
saying.
needs to release is what it needs to do.
Diablo
Diablo
4,
4?
same deal.
Yeah. Both of those games, if either of them isn't great, it's going to be painful.
And they need to stop being like game designer masturbation material and more like listening to the gamers who play these games.
Yes.
Because Blizzard really has
Notorious.
a reputation for just being like, no, this is the better game. I don't care what you want.
You're
And
like,
it's but that
Don't
only
you have
works
phones?
if you are good at your job. Like,
you know,
They're the most condescending people
that
right
clip's
now. That's their
definitely going
problem.
in here for sure. Don't you people have phones? Oh, that's the worst.
Oh, that was the worst blunder I've seen in a long
Graham,
time.
did you see that?
pretty bad.
No.
That was at BlizzCon when they announced Diablo Immortal, and
Yeah.
Red Shirt Dude, he's not Red Shirt Dude. Red Shirt Dude is a different guy. But this dude in a red shirt comes up and he's like, "Is this like an off-brand April Fool's joke?" And the crowd just went like wild, like just feeding off of that. And I can't remember. Was it Jay? It wasn't Jay Allen Brack? No, it was the one of the Diablo like leads, I think.
Yeah.
He was on stage and
It-
being like,
It was a very not great answer.
he was like, "Don't you guys have phones?" Like, like, as if like,
The crowd. the crowd just went, oh, like they were not happy with what he said, and I think he immediately, at the moment you can watch, like, please throw the clip up. The moment he says it, you could tell, like, he maybe should have taken a more tactful answer.
it's the crowd wasn't groaning at the fact that this was like on mobile phones. They were groaning at the fact that you announced a big
watched the
Diablo
clip.
announcement with Diablo Immortal, not Diablo 4, and that's what everyone was pissed
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
It's a big,
But like that answer was so condescending. Like, it was
so
just,
condescending. It's-
don't you have phones?
yeah, we do have phones, and we're still not playing your shitty game.
Yeah, we're recording you right now, bud. This is not going well. Ah.
Yeah, that didn't end well, and that still isn't even out. Oh man, I can't like Blizzard. What are you doing, man?
I don't know.
That
dumb.
was 20.
That's what they're doing. They packed up and sold their entire.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe Microsoft isn't getting such a good deal now that we're talking about
I
this.
don't know. Microsoft took a while to spin up things like. Well, I mean, anyways, they've got lots of cred under them to show that they can.
Lots of
turn
fingers
things
and
out.
lots of pies, but I still think that Sony has the more interesting exclusives.
Yeah.
You know? And Hogwarts, it's going to be on everything. I think this is going to be a game that is going to sell well. Because it, can sell on every console. There's a lot of Harry Potter fans. So you're going to get the people who may not play video games as much. But, like, is it going to be amazing? I am not sure yet.
As my wife said, if she's like, if I was 16, this is amazing because it lets me walk around my dreams.
Absolutely.
But like, I don't know. That's the fact that the average gamer age is now like 30 or whatever it is. It's like
Can't relate.
it's not gonna. It'll sell, like you said. It'll sell. It'll do okay. But whether it'll make any lasting memory for us, I doubt it.
I don't know, man.
Don't you guys have wands?
Harry Potter
Jeez.
games. Harry Potter games haven't done great.
Because they've been bad. That's why they haven't done great.
Yeah. Like, this is the first one I think they're
hear
really
one of the
attempting to
Lego
make it
ones.
good, so...
One of the Lego ones is supposed to be very
But, like, they're riding on the back of the Lego games, right? And, like, how consistent those games are.
right.
Like, if you liked one of them, you can buy any of your favorite movies or shows, and it works the same.
good. Right.
So, like, because it didn't matter if it was Indiana Jones, Star Wars,
Yeah.
or Harry Potter, like, it worked, and people loved it. So I don't think, like, they're out on their own with this product.
Yeah.
The Lego games have got two brands going for them. They got the brand that they're using,
Yeah.
and then the Lego brand. And then on top of that, all of those games are literally basically the same game
Yeah, they've
with
honed the
Lego
game.
people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's if they screw up a Lego game, they're doing something is really wrong.
Really wrong.
Yeah, real
I know.
problems.
I guess my joke landed flat.
It didn't land flat. It just
Jokes? I like jokes.
I'm not going there with the podcast.
All right, let's move on from.
Yeah,
Hogwarts.
I don't want to get
What do we got
canceled
next?
on my own podcast. But you know who did get canceled? That's the best segue I've ever had. Come on.
It's better than last week's.
You know what? One day you're gonna regret not understanding my segue humor. But
I'm working on
EA
it.
has apparently canceled their own event. They had their EA Play event that was coming up, and I guess they just noped out of their own thing. They're like, yeah, now we're on second thought. We're a terrible company. We got nothing good to show, so we're canceling it. They didn't say it exactly like that, but that's what I assume happened.
The internet's response was, well, they got nothing to show anyways.
I saw actually an amazing Reddit post was their feature product that they were going to show was the scoreboard for Battlefield 2042.
Yeah,
That was their headliner.
the thing that should have launched.
Yeah. Well, scoreboards are toxic, you know, because you don't want to know who's better than
Wait.
you at a game, potentially.
They don't have scoreboards in Battlefield?
The official reason was they wanted to keep their community from becoming too toxic, so they didn't launch with scoreboards. And everyone's response to that was like, "What in the hell are you talking about? It's a scoreboard. Like, you don't have to interact with the scoreboard. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is like, oh, I'm not in first place. I'm losing or I'm winning. Like that's." I guess I
For a
can
company like
understand
EA
bigger
to
issue.
comment on
it, but-
toxicity.
What's that,
It's
Graham?
funny for a company like EA to comment on toxicity, though.
Yeah.
It's just like
There's some kind of irony there. What else do they have coming into the EA Play show?
Sports.
Yeah, like
They do all the sports
so
games.
they had nothing.
football,
They
hockey,
basically had
soccer.
nothing then. So
And,
because those are yearly
Wow, I
franchises
mean, those-
like FIFA.
yeah, no, like, it doesn't even matter if they show them or don't show them.
yeah, exactly. they're
People
gonna say.
just expect a sport game to come out, so it doesn't matter. What do they have that's not sports?
Sports, like The NFL game is like one of the top 3
Battlefield.
selling games every year. Whatever
Every
one
year.
it is, I forget.
Madden, Emma.
Yeah.
And FIFA's in like the top 5. So it's like,
Yeah.
like they don't. It's not that they produce bad content. It's the same content every
I
year.
disagree
People
with
keep
you on
buying
that
it.
one.
I don't
Have you
know,
ever
but-
played a FIFA game? Have you? Do you know the microtransaction madness that goes on in those games? Because
The last FIFA game I played, I think, was for the N64. But let me just check.
that that was a little while ago. 1996 called.
Well,
They want their Nintendo back.
Yeah, it was really good. It was, well, I had a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
fun. I don't know if it
before
was
they
good.
had microtransactions in it, and
Yeah.
that was their whole thing of you got to buy the game, then buy your team that you want to put together.
Yeah, FIFA now with better
That's
graphic physics.
brutal.
That's their whole business policy, or their basically the way they make their money is the microtransactions through their the FIFA system. I can't remember if it's bled into other games, but you basically buy packs of cards with real money, which then have the chance of having the players you want, which is such bullshit. It's terrible. It's an awful strategy.
It's hard
I mean,
stuff.
it sounds like FIFA, the organization, really.
Yeah,
You
but
bribe enough
personified as a
officials, and
video
then maybe
game.
you can get your pick of the players that are coming up.
It's terrible. It's predatory. The EA Play show, was that associated with E3 in any way, or was this like a state of play? Or like, I think Microsoft has their ID at Xbox Now show
It was the
or
one
whatever.
thing.
That showcase
Yeah,
they've
no,
been
it
doing.
was like the state of play thing,
But, like-
'cause E3 was its own separate.
So, aside from not even, do you think they're pulling out from doing these internet videos to save it for
No,
E3?
well, E3 is done. It's not. I shouldn't say it's done, but it's not happening this year at all. Like in any capacity, not digital, not in person at all.
Wow, I did not know
they
that.
are.
I assumed it was happening again this year.
They used COVID as an excuse, but I've read this many times. They pulled out of the LA Convention Center well before any of the Omicron issues were happening.
The ship was sinking,
They,
I think. Sony had pulled out of E3 several years before, so like people scoffed when Sony was like, "We're not going to do E3
I think
anymore."
Sony saw the writing on the wall with E3.
Yeah, I absolutely think so, and I think they've had way more success with these shorter, very specific. Like the Harry Potter one was pretty good. They've had other ones that were really strong. Like they had the GT7 one. Again, like if you're going to buy these games, these are flagship games. People just want to see that game. Nobody wants to see all the crap. Like we're complaining about last week's, going like, it's all crap. It's like, yeah, it was. Like I don't want to watch that. And so like to cram it into like 4 days, like people don't want to watch that anymore. I think award shows are kitsch at this point.
I liked E3 though. Like I think it's a bummer that E3 is gone because it's such a cool time of year to be like, oh, like I would get so excited in like June and July for when E3 was happening.
It was right around my birthday
Yeah,
every year. So it was like Levi would go into like birthday E3 mode, and Aubrey would just hate it.
Well, it's
Like E3 on all the TVs streaming now.
like 4 days of like just gaming 24/7.
Endless and
Announcements
people
and-
talking about video games.
And I really like they were hit or miss. Like the conferences, like their shows were, some of them were awesome, and then sometimes we get the Xbox One reveal, but for the most part they were pretty awesome, and I kind of missed that. But at the same time, a good state of play from from Sony, and then the Microsoft digital events are also pretty much what I want, right? At the end of the day, it's mostly just the trailers and the gameplay footage. So I see why companies don't want to spend, a couple $1 million on building booths and, trucking out a bunch of scantily clad people to their booths.
You mean Kevin Hart? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I meant.
But Kevin Hart's here to introduce this game he's probably never played. Or The Rock. The Rock's been in a lot of those
I
events,
remember
though.
The Rock coming out on stage with Bill Gates when they announced the Xbox.
Bill Gates for the
That was
original
so
Xbox.
long ago. Oh boy, that is just making me feel old.
He's aged
Bill Gates or The
terribly.
Rock?
The Rock. He just looks
The
the
Xbox
worst.
hasn't done so well either. So machine.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I don't know. So, like, is there anything happening this year? If E3 is not doing it, like, what's Xbox plan? Because Sony's already in that mode. Nintendo's been doing Nintendo Directs again for the last 2 years. I guess Xbox has just got to follow suit.
Yeah, I think so. Well, last year they did their own event too, Microsoft, and then they also did their E3 event. So I assume they'll just consolidate those two events into one thing.
Like, who's left?
Well,
Activision?
not anymore. I mean, Activision
Ubisoft?
will be gobbled up soon enough. So I guess the other one was the
yeah. Bethesda? Bethesda always had a
Bethesda's
big
also
presence.
Microsoft.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like,
I
I'm just trying to see how this is going to play out. Like, I guess Xbox is going to need to start doing more of these types of videos.
I mean, they could technically do their own mini E3 of sorts because they've got so many companies now under their umbrella. So it's like,
100%. They got so much money, they could do all the set stuff. But do people want it?
I don't know.
No. Graham's shaking his head. No, I don't want it either. I hate hosts. I hate people who aren't invested in the product being like, and now here's this game. It's going to be great and you're going to love it. You're like, get off the stage.
As scared as I am of Game
Like,
Pass and the way that's going to forever change things in probably not a good way, I think that's like, I'd way rather just play a game than watch someone talk about games where they're like you said, only like 1 foot in the door and don't really know what they're talking about and aren't part of the community. It's like, that's not interesting to me.
Well, you'll run into the problem of you hire either an actor to be good on stage and have good stage presence and like can speak properly, but they know nothing about the things that they're talking about, or you have the actual developers
Sure.
come out and they are terrible on camera and can't speak in front of a crowd. So, the only solution is you got to hire Henry Cavill and let him talk about Warhammer 40K and World of
Pandering.
Warcraft. Listen, if we're being honest here, he's like the nerd supreme. Okay, the man builds his own PCs. So if you're gonna hire somebody to talk about video games, I feel like he's not a bad choice.
Sure. That's wasted talent on hosting. You need Aisha Taylor.
No more. She's
Yeah, exactly my point. Just the presence of somebody being on a stage is like, it's cringy to watch all of these, and it has been. And maybe that's the other thing that these companies are realizing. Like, the viewers, like Graham said, we are of the older demographic at this point. Like, we just see through it. It's lost its spectacle.
You know, everyone loves to hate Jim Ryan, the president of Sony, of PlayStation right now. But I think he's fine. He did a great job in one of the state of plays. Well, not the state of play. It was like the introduction to the PlayStation 5 in the summer. That was great. Little film
Right.
segments introducing stuff. Cut right into footage. Boom, away you go. Everybody's happy. You know, that's what you need going forward. Yeah,
It needs to be lean.
No 10 minutes of talking to the camera. Just introduce it and off
Yeah.
you go. That's all we need. That's all I want.
Yep.
And that's all I
That's
want,
all I
man.
want.
Just give me what I want, man.
Well, I don't know. So the verdict is what? They're out. They're out from here on out. Like, did we get to witness the last E3?
Yeah. When the last E3 was last year, I guess. 2 years ago.
Not last year.
I thought it was.
Was it last
Yeah, I
year?
thought last year was the
I thought they
last one because it was I want to say it was a digital one, but I don't think it was.
E3 2021. Yeah. All right. So we'll see. We'll see.
And maybe we'll be talking about a comeback story for E3 in next year or something. Who knows? Maybe it'll reemerge as E4, the Entertainment Electronic Expo Extravaganza. Hey, add another E there.
Good finish.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Good to go.
It was just such a great time, though, of year when you get that big dump, that big day or two of just like game after game after game after game, and you sort of have to wade through it. Like, it's so chaotic, but then I guess it's better as the companies just like give you little bits every 3 months Like, I don't know. What's better? One big dump or a couple little dumps?
No comment there. Oh, it's where this
gonna win into that
conversation
one.
just went. We are.
We were talking about pooping, right?
This is a podcast about bowel regularity and irregularity. So, Metamucil,
Sponsored
I
by
would love to get
Metamucil.
sponsorship from you guys. I have some upstairs. I'll just go grab it and we can feature the product. Then we can talk all we want about dumps, big dumps, little dumps, all the dumps. Content dumps, people. We're not talking about poop dumps.
All right, so I'm gonna make us roll on to the next topic now.
Graham, what a party pooper. E3 is officially
Dead.
gone. It's got dumped right off the side of the ship there.
I think it was a slow death, to be honest.
They got slowly pushed overboard then. We'll say that.
Yeah.
And they're currently drowning beside the ship and everybody's just watching and not helping them.
Yeah. Well, we're taking pictures with our phones.
I'm a war hero and we salute you.
That's twice.
Yeah, that's every episode going forward. I'm gonna slide it in there. Are there any games that you guys wish you could play now that you can't find on like emulators or you just haven't played in forever? Because there's a couple that I was thinking of the other night that they're just like really obscure ones that I don't think I've played in probably 25 years, maybe even longer than that. There's a game called Sky Shadow, which I'm going to try and find.
I have never heard of this game.
Sky Shadow, it's nothing special. Like there's nothing like, oh my god, it's like the the best in its genre. It's a side kind of it's not asteroids.
Side
it's not
scroller?
Is
invaders.
it a
It's like
shooty?
it's like
Shmups?
yeah, it's like a shooter, a side
Oh
scrolling
yeah,
shooter
I got some footage.
of Sky Shadow. It's
I've
such
never.
a weird,
Okay. Yeah. It's definitely. Yeah.
I haven't
up
even
in
looked
the
it up
side
in a
shmup.
long time. Yeah, okay, well maybe it's not as obscure as I thought it was. But that's a game I'd love to play again because it's got such a wacky art style.
Yeah. Look at these pictures right now. It's like very strange, very dense pixel art.
Oh yeah, it's got those weird like wormy things, and I remember this.
You remember that? Because I'm pretty
Well-
sure that you probably played this, Graham, on one of the old Mac computers that I had.
I was
We
gonna
used to
say
have-
like if we're probably.
Oh yeah, okay. So I found some images on Google Images here.
Do you think they keep the backgrounds black of these games just to preserve space? They're just like, it's a black. It's nighttime. No stars.
Well, Sky Shadow is probably supposed to be like taking place at nighttime or in space. I'm not even
Okay.
really technically sure where it takes place because it looks, I guess, like it's on a planet of some kind, but
Sure. That doesn't have an atmosphere that traps in light.
yeah, it has no atmosphere at all. Nobody can actually survive there.
But the mushrooms grow there. I can see that.
yeah,
What
I
is this
thought it
for,
was-
DOS?
Well, it was. I believe it was probably also for DOS, but it was a Mac game that I used to play. I don't know for sure if it's a PC game as well, but definitely a Mac game from back in the day.
Okay.
It's one of those games where like it was one of the only games I had for a long time or that I could play.
So you got really good
It was
at
on
it.
my dad's computer, and like it was the one game that he had that I was able to play. And so, no, I did not get good at this game. I was awful at it, and it's very hard. You fly through and you upgrade your ship, and every upgrade you get another blaster on your gun, and then you get like shield upgrades so you can take more damage, and so it's like that kind of thing. And so the more guns you have, obviously, the more you can shoot, the more you can hit, and the more damage you can do. And it's kind of
Okay.
like it's a survival thing, so you make it as far as you can. But as soon as you die or you use up your lives, you go right back to the very beginning of the game. There's no saves, there's no nothing.
So it's like an OG roguelike.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
When you
now,
say
now that
OG
I'm
rogue
seeing
like,
that,
you mean like a
what?
rogue game?
I'm just going to
game
mash
rogue.
all the terms together to anger the internet because that
it's
is a
not an
whole other
ASCII
debate.
bomb.
Rogue likes, rogue light. What is it?
It's rogue. Well, it depends on if you have progression between rounds.
Well, there's
Okay.
no progression between runs on this. You die, you're done.
Then it's
you lose
rogue
all your progression.
like.
That's rogue-like. Okay.
Rogue light is where you have progression
Light,
between.
Lite.
Yeah, is where you have progression between rounds. So you can
Okay.
upgrade your character. At least I think that's the general consensus.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So like something like Slay the Spire would be a rogue light
light. And I think light
because
is the more
each
popular
round
genre.
you sort of pick your stuff.
Yeah. Because rogue is a game itself, right?
Yeah.
It's an ASCII
Yeah.
bomb of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Graham? You got any games?
Well, I didn't
Back in
realize
the
the,
day.
the context when I saw the bullet point in our group document here.
I may have updated the context when you were away and Levi and I were chatting.
That nobody knows about. I didn't quite realize that. So I'm not quite as prepared. Maybe Forgotten World. Nobody knows about Forgotten Worlds. I played more Forgotten Worlds in
Never heard
sleepovers
of
than
this
any
game.
other game. It was
I've also never heard of
impossible. It was like a side-scrolling shooter, but you were like a little dude with a gun. But you can fly, so it was still, you could have been in a spaceship. It doesn't really matter.
Kind of looks like Contra.
It was very, very, very hard unless you played co-op and then you had infinite lives, as long as you didn't both die at the same time.
Ah. All right.
And so, like, it was the go-to sleepover game for me. Hank, you probably have played a bit of this.
This definitely looks like Contra. It's a Capcom game too.
It was
Okay.
Genesis. It was like,
Oh, wait a second.
and you
I'm
go to
just
shops
looking at
and
a
you can
YouTube video.
upgrade your gun. Anyways, it was super fun. I don't know if it was actually any good. Like, it was probably like a million other games, but it was the game that I had, and I played a lot, and was playing with friends, so it's like very good memories of like staying up late with your friends when you're like 10 years old or 12 years old
Yeah.
or whatever.
Drinking pop, drinking
Exactly.
orange pop.
Yeah. Yeah. Something is crazy happening
Thanks.
on our
Something up here.
video chat here.
I was attempting to do a screen share, but I guess our
We should.
Oh,
we could.
there it
Oh,
is.
there you go. Oh God.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's a great boss fight right there.
yeah. I was just
Look
flicking
at
through
that.
this or skipping
Yeah,
skimming through
good
it. And I remembered
artwork.
This guy.
It's good.
yeah, it's really intense artwork.
Yeah, it was a good game, but it was just funny that the difficulty curve was so hard with single player, and then like so ridiculously forgiving. Although, like, if you both died at the same time, then it sucked. So you had to like, you'd make it really far, and then both people would get killed, and you'd be like, "What?"
This fight reminds me a lot of The Messenger, which I sort of dropped off on.
The other type of game I wish there was more of is like light gun games, because there were some really good, and I think that genre of game could probably be improved substantially. The Wii tried it with a few things and was pretty successful. I think
You could
Resident
argue
Evil
that
4,
we did it the best. Yeah.
yeah, Resident Evil 4 is the closest like hybrid sort of game that I've ever come across, and I still love Res 4 on the Wii the best. Yeah, I kind of miss light gun games, because like Time Crisis was a game I pumped so many quarters into.
Crisis.
So many
remember
quarters
Time
into
Crisis.
Time Crisis.
I played that in the arcade.
Yeah.
And in the arcade, it came with a foot pedal, like a brake pedal.
To hide
The brake
behind
pedal
stuff.
controlled your wall dip out, which was such an interesting thing. But that game was really hard. So, on a tangent here, speaking of like ridiculous arcade games, you guys ever remember playing Area 51?
Yeah, I remember that game.
I loved playing Area 51.
That's a light
on
gun game
arcade.
too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a light gun game. Me and my older brother would always play it when we'd go on vacation. This arcade always had it, and like it's just impossible. Like it's such an impossible game.
Yeah, it's designed to eat your quarters.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's designed to be like you'll get through maybe 2 levels,
I remember
and then
that.
you both are dead,
Yeah.
and then it's like $1 to get back in. Yeah.
was
a good time.
That's kind of sad. Now that I'm just thinking about, like, if you go on a trip somewhere and you stay at, like, I don't know, a random motel or a hotel or whatever. More often
They
than
used to
not,
have arcades.
15 years ago, there was an arcade, like, with 3 or 4 cabinets that you
Yeah.
could go play. Like, that was an experience that you're like, try this new game or whatever.
Yeah, you show up and you're like, oh, they got Street Fighter. Good,
Yeah.
sweet.
Or
Maybe I'll
you
come down and play
you
some Street Fighter
remember
later.
the spot or the hotel or wherever it was that had that game that you're like, oh yeah, I played
Yeah.
that thing there. Like you were just talking about Area 51, but that's not a thing anymore. No,
I
wait,
was-
the
oh,
arcades
that's
are
not-
gone.
So, pre-pandemic, 2019, I went to Vegas for a climbing trip because Red Rock is right there. Awesome, awesome climbing. But anyways, one night we went drinking and ended up in an arcade, and it was awesome. Like, it was so good. It's like they still exist, but I guess they're novelties for.
But
They're bars now.
Yeah, there's a bunch in Toronto that are
Barcades.
the same
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
but it's not a. You don't go to an arcade anymore just to go play games. You go to like,
No, they're pandering to our age group.
yeah, well, exactly.
Like
yeah.
they have to include drinking because
that's
they're
where
like
the money
these people
is.
aren't going to stick around.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
they can go
here's-
home and play their video games on their consoles.
Yep.
There was
No, the social aspect. I remember we went a few years ago now, maybe 2 years. We all went to a buddy's bachelor party, and it ended up at an arcade, a bar arcade in Toronto. And so the front portion of the store was all 64s and like console
Yeah.
games,
that was fun.
but every screen was like Smash Bros. Or like Street Fighter or Tekken. And like that was the part of the bar I didn't even go into because like people were waiting and it just looked so much more intense like to be like hanging out in those booths to try and play those games. So like we played all the retro stuff, but like that's where the real like PvP action was happening in that place.
When did you move
But
to
it was
Guelph?
interesting to see how popular Smash Bros. And Smash Bros. Melee from the GameCube were like there was crowds around them. It was nuts.
Because Guelph had a bar called Afterlife for a while that was all like very much like that, but it's very much gone.
Yeah.
It was anyways, I have comments about the business model, but we're way off topic.
Well, still like arcades is like it's a lot of those games you're not going to see now.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to see arcade games.
I feel like we're still
arcade boards are expensive. Like if you want to build
Yeah.
a cabinet, like to buy the board to set that up, let alone the CRT screen and everything else you need to make it work.
The whole
Like,
setup.
it's real pricey.
I feel like we're still pretty on topic here, considering arcades are something that I would like to see again, but are probably.
I'd
not
love to
going back.
play some old. My pick is a game called Jetpack for DOS. Graham, you ever played Jetpack?
I never played Jetpack. I don't think so.
It's the strangest game. So it's now that I'm looking at the images, it's very much in the vein of Minecraft or like Mario Maker. So you can construct these entire levels and like certain things have certain density, and so your jetpack guy, he has fuel, so you have to like find the jetpack canisters in the levels to fly around. But you also have this gun that can like slowly break. It shoots like an electrical field that like slowly breaks down whatever you're standing in front of. So you can cut pathways. You can make your own ways through the level, and like after a few seconds, the brick will like close back in. So if you get caught in the brick, you're dead. And like it would be these really, really elaborate sort of
I'm literally playing right
mazes that you'd have to get through, and eventually they throw more enemies, and like you have to like collect all the things. It's such a crazy game, but the sound effects were so good. Like I just loved like when you died, he had this like horrific scream, and like everything just sounds so like heavy on those sound blaster like cards.
You're
like,
horrific.
It's just such an.
I just got eaten by a robot, so I'm playing it literally right now.
What? How are you?
Are you and the horrific scream, and he's like, "Rah!"
and it was just like a terrible piercing noise in my ear.
Jetpack is so much fun, and there's.
I don't actually.
In hindsight, I don't know if like it might be something fun if they released it on PlayStation. I'd probably buy it. There's maybe 50 levels, and you can. I watched a guy speed run the entire game in 30 minutes. So it's like, okay, maybe we don't need that game. But I had a lot of good memories, and especially the idea of building your own levels, and it gave you like the Minecraft sort of style where like you got the whole grid of your options to build, and you could create anything you wanted. So like it gave you a lot of options.
So this
You
reminds
can make the most sadistic levels, or you could just make like easy completion levels.
when Hank and I were kids, we used to play Lode Runner Returns, or the Revenge of Lode Runner. I think it was Revenge of Lode Runner. It's a
I think it was
Abandonware
Lode
game.
Runner Returns, because it
Yeah,
was
it's
it was the Mac.
not the
one.
original, but it's the same, very very similar.
Lode Runner's Rescue?
No,
Oh,
not
no,
Rescue.
Returns. Here it is. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, it reminded me kind of like the first Lode Runner reminded me of Jetpack.
So the aesthetic isn't bang on, but when you like what I just played here, and granted I played for 30 seconds, so my experience is limited.
Oh, yeah, this definitely looks like Jetpack.
Yeah, like,
Looking
they're
at this.
very, very similar. Except instead of a jetpack, you had a laser where you could like drill holes.
Yeah, well, you have the laser too, but you also get the jetpack.
Right.
But if you run out of jetpack fuel, you are relegated to the ladders, so you can't like fly up and through and go right to the door. You have to like fight your way through, and like a lot of it is like remove the ground so a robot will fall through, and then you get up and like trap it. And
That's ironic. So Lode Runner is basically jetpack with no jetpack. That's
Yeah.
more or less.
sounds terrible.
Better graphics though.
Yeah.
You had like
Definitely.
slime
Yes,
and stuff that you had
definitely.
to go through, and
And you could build your own.
Yeah,
you could build your
Jetpack
own
is
levels.
definitely earlier.
That was the big draw.
Well, that's what made me think of it is that both of them have your level builder.
Oh.
But Lode Runner also had co-op
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
because Hank and I would play together. I distinctly remember that.
Oh, we gotta throw comparisons up then for both of these games, because like Jetpack, man, has some really good levels though, like really good. I have fond memories. Another game would be, it's Cliff Bleszinski's like one of his earlier games. It's called Jazz Jackrabbit.
Oh, that guy. I
You ever
played
played
that.
Jazz Jackrabbit? That game was really good too. It was a Sonic ripoff, so like a side scroller, but you had guns, so you could shoot things, which is pretty cool. And then you get the bonus stages, and it was like the faux 3D render with the 2D character running and jumping, but it's all just a huge Sonic ripoff, but with guns. And I actually played the crap out of that game growing up.
So if that returned in this epic remaster,
If they
reboot,
did something, yeah,
you'd be
maybe.
on board for it.
Because there is a ton of Jazz Jackrabbit games. I think there's like 3 of them plus like a bunch. Because they did the shareware thing. You could play like the first couple levels, and then you had to buy the other floppy disks. So there's actually a ton of game there. But,
Well,
how long I would play it for, we'll see.
who knows? Maybe we'll see a Jazz Jackrabbit returns in
I
2023.
think Cliff is giving it out these days.
Well, I think that kind of brings us to the end of our episode then tonight. This has truly been a buffet of content because we have really covered the gamut of a lot of things tonight. So
Except Gambit.
you had to go there. Had to just we were up here and you had to just bring us down.
For space.
Gambit. Yeah, well, we've covered everything except for Gambit, and thanks for sticking it out with us and trying all the delicious new delicacies tonight. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care.
Have a good one.
Cheers.